welcome back to Trick Posture Ghost TV on this beautiful. Is this on? Let's see. Something is odd. This microphone. Hot 1 2 1 2. Let me know if you can hear this. I have a feeling it's low, huh? Yeah, something is off. Let me see. Test 1 2 1 2. Well, let me check my phone really quick. Make sure that it does sound decent, as the kids say. So, that's actually, I guess that's what first. Get the thing out of the safe. Test 1 2. Yeah, definitely not working. Test, 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 1 2. Test, 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 1 2. Test 1 2. Test 1 2. Test 1 2. Okay, I think that's it. Yeah. There it is. There it is. Okay, good. Okay, thank you guys for being patient. I think we got it, right? Yep. Thank you guys. All right, well, we're back. Let me turn this down now so it's not so hot for you. Great. Okay. So, turn it down a little bit more. It's still a little too hot. I'm telling you, that's why you always got to check your levels. Okay, well, happy 2024 almost, the day before, right? Christmas Eve, I mean, excuse me, New Year's Eve. Today is December 31st, 2023. How amazing. Man, I got to lose some weight. That's a good thing about going live. I got to lose a good 30, 40 pounds here. I went for a run yesterday. I didn't have pizza last night, and I'm on my way to a run here after this. So those are my wins for today. Plus the fact that I am not where I need to be. So that's also a win, being honest with yourself. So that's good. But today, actually, I want to talk about, besides Happy New Year or New Year's Eve, if you're watching me on Instagram or on YouTube or Facebook, wherever you are, on Twitter, X, thank you for being here. LinkedIn, Twitch. I don't know what else is out there. Instagram, I said. So today, plans. Here's my truth. At times, my beautiful wife and I will go to Disneyland for their Happy New Year thing. We've done it a few times, but it's not even being an old man thing. We've always just liked to be home. And it's not just me, because I am kind of that way. But she is the same way. And so tonight we might go to see some fireworks maybe later tonight here in the Long Beach area. I think they have them at the Queen Mary around 9 p.m. / midnight back in the East Coast. But I think otherwise we're going to just be watching them on TV. Now, here's the thing. My dream has always been to play, to have my own band playing salsa or my own original songs or both, and to actually have like a gig all night from whatever, 7 p.m. till 3 a.m., 2 a.m. on New Year's Eve. So that would be my dream, and maybe it'll happen. But apart from that, as far as going out and celebrating, it's never been my thing. Anybody know what I'm talking about? And again, it's not just because we're old. It's just a matter of, it's just kind of, I think, how we've always been. Minus a few times where we have gone to. I remember we were thinking about how we went, Rochelle and I, my wife Rochelle, we went to the Knott's Berry Farm Christian night they used to have on New Year's Eve. So that was maybe 20, 30 years ago. So we used to go to those. That was really fun. We were just kids back then. We've been married 28 years, 29 years almost. So some context there. A beautiful, beautiful life, a beautiful marriage, a beautiful, beautiful blessing that God's given us. So now our kids, they're of course out and about. Our son is going to be with his friends in LA at some party event. All, of course, sane and no drinking, no drugs, no none of that stuff. All of these are very healthy and very good events that we're very proud of for them. And not that if you're over 21, it's some sin to drink. But, of course, it's dangerous. And so you have to be very careful and aware, especially tonight and tomorrow. And then our daughters are in San Diego with our friends, also spending New Year's there. So, yeah, it's going to be just Rochelle and I here tonight. and we're fine with that. More than happy. A couple of years ago, during the pandemic, I'm sure, yeah, we had a party here at the house. And so I have my DJ equipment. I DJ'd all night long, and we danced and had Martinelli's, and it was a fun night with all five of us. So tonight, though, I might DJ. Maybe I'll do that. I was going to do a podcast around 7, but most people, of course, are busy. So we'll probably do that next week sometime. But the fourth and final prediction for 2024, if you haven't seen the first three, make sure you go and check those out in the previous episodes, wherever you're watching or listening to this. By the way, if you are listening to the audio only on Spotify or Apple, thank you for being here. Welcome. And if you would like the audio only version of this, you can just go to those platforms and subscribe. David Trigg, or the Millennial Spiritual Life Coach, I believe. You can look it up under any of those names. But we're talking about the wounded healer, the last prediction. The first one was accountability. First one was honesty. Second one was accountability. Third one, I forget what the third one was. And the fourth one is wounded healer. So today, amidst all the good things, is the 22nd, I believe, year anniversary of my father passing away. Yep. My grandmother, who raised me since I was a young boy, she died on Christmas. Well, she went to the hospital on Christmas Eve and died January 3rd, I believe. And then my father, he had been ill for many years, up until 22 years ago. And then today, 22 years ago, he passed away. And I put on my Instagram, if you want to, by the way, follow me there at David Trigg, how that wound is with me to this day. I don't think that wound as a man, as a father, as a son, I think for any child, ever goes away. And it really has affected me tremendously, especially as I now have our own kids. And as I'm now a grown man, at times I fear that similar things are going to happen to me. I have some trauma around not just missing him, but also about my own path as a man, as a male, and just fears that are illogical and untrue, but they get in there. And then, as I wrote on my Instagram, we also lost, I would say, my the second greatest male figure in my life, Rochelle's dad. He passed away February of this year. And then her mother, as if that wasn't enough, passed away. I believe it was August of 21, or maybe it was 22. I don't know if it was 2022 or 2021. It may have been 2021, or I don't know. I can't exactly remember. And then our beautiful dog, on a different level, and yet, our dogs are everything to us. Daisy, she also hasn't been well, and we don't know what's going to happen here in the next season. So a lot of losses. I lost my uncle Hector this year, my beautiful uncle. Also lost Rochelle's uncle, Uncle Tim, this summer. So, and then that was in the heels of both of us losing our full-time jobs summer of 2021. So, whew. So with all that said, right, it's been quite the emotional journey. And me as an empath who deals with just the trauma, or the body keeps a score type stuff, I've been dealing with some emotional stuff and some anxiety and some stomach issues, etc., that I've been working through. And at times it's good, at times it's not, but God has been faithful. But with all that said, I've been learning the power of being a wounded healer, which is the fourth prediction for 2024. God has equipped many of us to be wounded healers. And that's a phrase that I learned from Henry Nouwen, one of my spiritual mentors, who was a Catholic priest who gave up his life, you could say, of academia. I think he was a professor at Harvard, to work among the disabled, I believe at a disabled center, disability center in Lark, Toronto, Canada, for the last, 5-10 years of his life. My father became a pastor the last 5 years of his life, and he also gave his life for the sake of others for most of his life. And so have I, and so has Rochelle's dad. And most of us men of God, of course, and men and women, we give our lives for the sake of others. It's who we are. My wife being a teacher, principal, dean of students, second grade teacher, all of that, working primarily among the urban poor to give back to kids like me when I was that age. And so both of us and many of us, if you relate to this lifestyle, it's what we do, right? It's who we are as people of Jesus, people of the way, people of God, as a pastor, as a musician, as a producer, as a mentor. To be a wounded healer is difficult because it assumes that you're wounded. And I don't like being wounded. No one does. I don't like dealing with anxiety and somatic things in my body and all that stuff. I have a book, by the way, that I have read many times. The Body Keeps a Score. But then also the other one is called Rest for Your Nerves or something like that, or Healing for Your Nerves. Very, very powerful, talking about fear and how your body remembers, and how sometimes when I've met with so many men that think they have cancer or a brain problem or a tumor or heart, and it's just anxiety, and it's just exactly what it is, panic attacks. I've dealt with all those things, all those fears, and we just have to support each other, young and old. I've met with a lot of young people who also deal with panic attacks and all kinds of anxiety, young men and women. And especially as Christians, it's still a big stigma. That's why I love how Miss Universe, not only is she from Nicaragua, but she talks about her own panic attacks even the day of being crowned Miss Universe. I'm from Nicaragua, so it hits home because of many reasons. And so I love how her nonprofit or her cause for this year as Miss Universe is mental health. And so for me, that's also my cause. I've studied mental health. I've been to counseling for many years. I've done all kinds of stuff, EMDR, traditional talk therapy, medication, everything has helped. Jesus, the Bible, church, all of it has helped. And it's not something that's healed. I don't think it ever will be, but it is something, again, back to a wounded healer, that I have learned to accept as a gift, as something that sucks a lot of times, that I can't stand, that I'm ashamed of. But I also have realized that that woundedness in Christ and with these tools are the healing that I and others need. And so that's my fourth commitment and prediction for 2024, is that we need more wounded healers. We need, as I said, first, authentic people, accountable people. I wish I remember the third one. And then the fourth one being wounded healers. I think I may have written down these four things, but you can, again, look them up on your own. And I think part of being a wounded healer, for me at least, it's the whole area of worship and discipleship. Worship and discipleship has always been how God has shown up in my life. Worship, music, writing songs. By the way, I just released a single last night. It might be out today or tomorrow. We'll see when the service releases it on Spotify. It's called In My Mind, talking about anxiety and how to overcome those mental games that us anxious types play, and then to overcome that in Christ and just through being honest and authentic. So check that out. It's called In My Mind. It's also on my Instagram. There's a little clip on there. You can go check it out and subscribe to get the full version. But you can just wait a couple days. It should be out today or tomorrow. I wanted to release it today, being that today is my father's 22nd year anniversary of his passing and being with Jesus. So, but yeah, as I was saying, wounded healers, it really is a thing that we need more. We need more examples of men and women who are authentic, honest, accountable, who are in community with each other to become wounded healers. Because guess what? We have a whole generation of Gen Z and Gen A. Is that what happens after Gen Z? It goes back to A, B, of Gen Y, etc., who are dealing, whether it's because it's cool or it's everywhere, or whether it's something that they really are dealing with, or both. And there's a whole epidemic that's coming of mental health and trans and LGBT, meaning all of the, I'm not saying that those things are diseases. My point is that there's a lot of stuff in young people's heads that they're having to process. And it's not just those major themes, abortion, let's say, but it's also just the regular stuff of dating, relationships, hookup culture, fresh and fit, money, how to buy a house, how to become an adult, how to make decisions when you feel like you don't know what you're doing, and how to have the support of your parents and family, church, how to go back to church, how to read the Bible on your own now that you're 16, 18, 20, 21, etc. How to become a young man and woman of God now that you are on your own, or you're making now bigger decisions. So all those things is part of what my wounded healing is about, is worship and discipleship, especially through technology and media. It's not just church. I love church, and it's not just small groups, which I love, or Zoom or whatever, but it's also through content in your phone, so that young people who are already on their phones all day can receive, assuming they don't want to break from it. Obviously, we also have that reality, right? That you want to break from your phone. But just to create apps and services online, whether it's subscription model or whether it's free, where people can find help. Speaking of apps, yesterday, a friend of mine who also I think deals with similar things, similar issues, he shared with me a app that was actually by a Catholic church, or maybe it's just a Catholic service. I forget the name of it, but it's, I think, $1.99 a month, $2 a month. Maybe it's $9.99. I forget. I just got the free version, and it has daily meditations and mindset prayers and the rosary, if you're Catholic, prayers along those lines, and creeds and Bible studies. And they're 2 minutes long, kind of like Headspace, but it's spiritual. I'm sure there are others, but this young man, he's in his 20s. He's all into it. And he's like, oh, I know you're not Catholic, but check this out. I loved it. I love that. I mean, I don't pray to Mary, but it doesn't matter. My point is that the application, or having the technology, that's what matters to me. We need to see these devices not as anti-God, but pro-God. How do we get more Jesus into these devices so that young people that are on TikTok, etc. I'm not saying that we're going to create a Christian TikTok. My point is, how do we create apps and services like the one that this young man shared? Shout out to my brother Chris, shared with me yesterday, that young people can have access to, so they can find peace and hope and Christ, and find solace for their racing thoughts and their worries and concerns and stomach issues, or headaches, or migraines, or jaws, or maybe they're making wrong decisions, meaning their jaws are tight, or maybe they're making wrong decisions with alcohol, drugs, hookup culture, relationships, porn, addiction, all those things, to help young people avoid those problems, and to also help parents to point their kids towards these apps and these services, and churches, of course, that celebrate these things, that create content that is by young kids themselves, so that kids themselves can minister to one another through Bible studies in person, Zoom, and of course apps and technology. So all of that is part of my desire, worship and discipleship for 2024 and beyond. Whether it's doing it through church, through this space, whether it's doing it one-on-one, through my coaching services that I offer, anything and everything, whether it's worship, music, production, writing songs, being a pastor, preaching, teaching, leading worship, whatever it is, that's my desire, is to make disciples of Jesus Christ, so that those disciples can go out and make converts and and share the love of God, to work together with outreach and discipleship always, and to build a healthier society. But really, I was thinking about what is at the heart of all this for me, and it goes back to what I said, is to be the man that I long to have. And I had my father for, I was, how old was I when he passed away? 30. So I had my father for 30 years of my life, but I was without him physically for almost 20 years of those 30 years. So it was a huge, huge emptiness even before he passed away. And of course, he was with me through letters, and he came to visit me, and we would talk on the phone, but it wasn't the same. And that left a huge hole in my heart of how to be a man. I had to learn from mentors and teachers and other father figures, and God provided me all those people by His grace. But I am, you know how they say that Gary Vaynerchuk wants to buy the jets with his millions of dollars. Well, I want to make millions, of course, we all do. But what I want is not money. It's not just having financial success. It's to be able to be a spiritual father. And not just me, but to create a culture of spiritual fathers to the nations worldwide. And to make disciples of Jesus Christ, young and old. And to be that man that I long for, that I had, just in a different way, to a whole new set of young people, a whole new batch of kids that are maybe right now in third grade, in sixth grade, in eighth grade, and in high school and college, or out of college, or dropouts, or whatever it may be, starting their own businesses and having, maybe they're in a band, maybe they're working part-time at a restaurant and have a band on the side, or a creative outlet, or entrepreneurship, and getting them the support that they need. And many of them have support. I'm not saying that every child is fatherless or motherless, but to complement that support, instead of having a young girl get into OnlyFans and selling their bodies online, or being promiscuous, or whatever it may be, providing for them the spiritual support to make better decisions, so they can serve Jesus and love God and live healthy lives and become wounded healers themselves. And yeah, that's my dream, is to be a spiritual father to the nations, and to join along others who have the same passion through these tools, through the church, through surrounding myself with young people always. As I get older, of course, it's not just about me, but it's, of course, me being involved, but it's surrounding myself with young people and other men and women my age and younger, that together we can all become a force of discipleship and of wounded healers to this lost and dying world, our society, and all over the world. So that's really a beautiful thing, and I am still healing from these last 2 years. I'm still feeling some discomfort, and my body isn't quite 100%. I'm still in the process of eating healthy and moving my body and getting my emotions, my mind right. This last few months have been much better. God has begun to settle my heart and begun to show me his plans for my life once again. I was pretty confused for 2 years. And yet, even then, he was with me. But he's been faithful, and he continues to guide me down the right path, and continue to love my wife, being faithful to her, loving her, providing for her, being her strength. And then, of course, being together with her parents, coaches, counselors to our 3 young adults, 24, 22, and 20. What a gift they are to us. And at some point, grandkids, Lord willing, and also my sisters, my nephews, my cousins, all of the people that we have around us here in Nicaragua and all over the world. And to you online, to you, a young man, a young woman, maybe a father like myself, a mom, a family that wants to join in this movement of God, this wounded healing movement of God. And I'm not the only one who's talking this way. You go online, you talk to spiritual healers and more people that are in tune with the emotional and spiritual part of life, and this is what they're talking about, how there's still going to be some pain this year. I'm no Nostradamus or anything, and no one knows the day or the hour, but I think that 24, we're going to continue to experience pain and more mental health issues. I don't think we've hit bottom yet, and that's kind of the hard news, but that's why we have to be ready and begin to prepare ourselves, learning skills, learning tools, reading the Bible together, being honest with each other, healing ourselves, so that we can bring healing to our generation, younger generations, our kids and their kids and their kids worldwide, in Jesus' name. So that's basically my last and final prediction of 2024, who we need to become as humans. And as I said, if you would like my coaching, if you'd like to be a part of this movement, just go to davidtrey.com/coaching, davidtrey.com/coaching. Happy New Year. Happy New Year's Eve. Thank you for being here. I love you. And I will see you next time. Adios. Gossip right there.